Hey everyone, I'm Lyle Burks with the Viking Speaks. And this is the 48 Laws of Power. Hey everyone, I'm Lyle Burks. Welcome back to the 48 Laws of Power on the 90-day challenge. This is day 52. Today we have Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information that will keep you a step ahead. Better still, play the spy yourself. In polite social encounters, learn to probe, asking direct questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There's no occasion that is not an opportunity for spying. So in this law, he talks about one of the greatest art dealers in the history of America, Joseph Devine. And he had pretty much made a client of every millionaire from 1904 to 1940. And they more or less all bought from him almost solely. But he had one guy that eluded him. His name was Mr. Andrew Mellon. He was an industrialist. And Mellon had heard things about Devine he wasn't too terribly fond of, so he never saw him. He had this preconceived notion of this guy. So, Devine, knowing that he knew his craft very well, he made it his goal to, he said, no matter what, I'm going to get this guy to be my client. And not only will he be my client, he will buy solely from me. So he set to work. And what he did was he took and he hired many of Devine's own staff that worked at the home, as well as acquaintances, things of that nature, that didn't necessarily know what the game was. He hired them on his staff. And he began to gather information on his target. Before long, he knew Mullen's ins and outs, his likes, his dislikes, his habits, his patterns, better than his own wife. So eventually, when there was a trip to New York, Devine made sure that he was going to be there when Mullen was there. And there was a gallery that was displaying some art. So what he did when he got to the hotel was he booked a room directly below Mullen's. Same room, one floor down. And he hired the valet to work for him in that venue. And what he instructed that valet to do was befriend the same valet that Mullen would have. And so he would know his movements and everything. So when the time came that eventually Mullen was going to head to the gallery, the valets communicated, let Devine know. Just as soon as Mullen put his overcoat on and was headed to the lift, head downstairs. I said New York, I'm sorry, it was in London. But either way, he got in the lift, and lo and behold, there's Mullen, same time. So they struck up conversation, and sure enough, Mullen asked, where you headed this fine evening? Well, Devine said, well, I'm headed down to the gallery. Imagine that, heading to the same place. So as they struck up conversation, Mullen was pleased to find out that this fellow, not only did he find that he was not the guy that he originally anticipated he was or had heard, he was a much more well-spoken, high taste, and they just had a lot in common. And sure enough, when he got to the art gallery, he was just blown away by how much Devine knew about all the pieces and how much his own taste matched Mullen's. So as the evening wore on, Mullen became pretty fond of him. And when they got back to America, Mullen visited Devine's private gallery and found the majority of the work there was exactly what he wanted. And from that point on, Mullen bought not only solely from Devine, he became his most generous customer. So he did his homework, wasn't shooting from the hip, made sure he knew exactly who he was after, what he was after, and he set to work. And as a result of that, he hired personnel in and out of that person's life to make sure he had accurate information in a timely manner that would serve his purpose. He didn't let things happen by chance. He took control and he made it happen. So The concept behind this law is pretty simple. If you want something done right, be willing to put in the effort. Know that you may have to gather information from people close to your target. So if you can't necessarily go directly to the person you're seeking, seek those around them. Seek the ones they trust. Gather intel that way. Gather trust from them. Befriend those around them, and you get inside the circle. When you change your circle of influence to be inside of their circle of influence, now you have access. So be careful about the spying, though, because as soon as you're found out that that's exactly what you're doing, you will lose all favor, and you'll have an eye on you at all times. That word will spread fast. So always guard your reputation. One of the previous laws. That's all I got for tonight. Much love, y'all. Backing out.